3, 2, what? We lost it. Oh. All right. Well, shit. I guess we're rolling, guys.
The countdown just went away.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Now Appearing at Loonees.
Tracy. Do me a favor. I was still talking. Restart for me.
Oh, that's so funny.
Honestly, I liked the chaos.
Cut.
It's not Beanie Boys. It's not my podcast. This is just the
This is rough. I don't know what's going on today. Okay. In 5, 4, 3.
Hey guys, how's it going?
2.
Sorry, I can't even see the
Hell yeah.
Fuck it, we're keeping it.
Welcome
Welcome to Now Appearing at Loonees. Today has been a debacle. Thank you for
so
tuning
funny.
in. My name is Tracy Kellett. I am your host. This, of course, is our weekly podcast where we sit down with the headliners coming through Loonees this week. Of course, I am joined with Cam.
Hello.
1/3 of the Beanie Boys being blunt.
Cameron McKenzie. I have a full name sometimes.
Whatever. And today we're so excited. We have an amazing guest. You've seen him on MTV. You've heard him on Sirius XM. He went on tour with Larry the Cable Guy and Jeff Foxworthy.
Nice.
He also has his own podcast called the Hoff Cast, where he's interviewed an astronaut.
Dude, we haven't done that.
We have to talk about that. So let's give it up for Nick Hoff, everybody.
Yeah. There's a full room in here cheering.
Yeah, full room.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes!
We actually pack the showroom for the pod, and then it's a weird thing.
Thank you so much for talking with us today. I know it has been a debacle so far today, so thank you for taking some time out for us.
Yeah,
I'm excited for it. Thanks for having me.
of course.
So we were talking outside. Cam and I were raised on the Blue Collar Comedy Tour.
Yeah, which is funny. I just chose to watch it. Like, my parents didn't watch it. I was like, I'm watching this at age 11.
Yeah,
This
and
is what
I'm white
comedy
trash.
is.
So he did it by choice. I did it because I had to.
You
How
were the
was
target
that experience
demo.
for you?
We
Yes,
were,
I was
yeah.
the target audience.
11-year-old Canadians and Tracy.
And 11-year-old bisexual girls in the plate of Maryland.
Well, I like it. Yeah, you guys are just children then, because that came out a little later for me. But yeah, getting to tour with those guys was super awesome because I was just doing comedy clubs at that time, and so then getting kind of plucked out, and then all of a sudden doing theaters and arenas, you go, holy cow!
Yeah.
I hope this continues.
So did one of them just like catch your set and they were like, this is the vibe, this is the guy, he's the voice, or what happened there?
So it's
Your guys' aunts knew each
50-50.
other.
It's 50-50 who you know and timing. So my manager is Larry's manager, but I had never met him and I had never interacted with him or anything like that. But I was pitching. She told me, hey, their SiriusXM channel is looking for more content, so they're looking for hour-long shows. So I was pitching some shows for their channel at the exact same time they were looking for an opener. And my manager goes, well, you should try Nick. And they said, okay. But they had a couple other guys that they were going to use as well. And so I got to do, they gave me 4 shows out of their like 75 city tour. They gave me 4 shows to do, and they happened to be at the very beginning of the tour. And I did those, and they go, okay, he's the guy. And I did the whole tour with him.
Man.
That's incredible.
Man,
Yeah, it was-
right place, right time. Just
Right place, right time. And to be quite honest, that first show did not go that well. Like, I was super excited. It was in Kansas City, and it was first time doing a big theater. And I was super excited. You know, I'd always heard about them and how you hear the laughs come in waves. And so I just had what I considered my A material just coming out firing. But it just kind of landed flat. I would consider it maybe a C- show. And I was like, oh, man.
And first one out the gate, man.
First one out of the gate, I was like, that stinks. And Foxworthy's backstage, you know, dang it. He saw me just be very mediocre.
Yeah, dude. Just a sad mustache looking at you. He's like, come
Just
on.
disappointment coming down through the mustache hair.
Yeah.
Just
The old trickle-down
Nick,
effect.
what
It's just
was
coming
that?
down.
Did he give you like a dad talk or like an uncle talk afterwards, or he just kind of like hit you on the back as like buck up, you know?
No, he was very nice. He's like, oh, nice job.
Sure.
But, you know, when
Yeah.
people say nice job, but you know it wasn't a nice job.
Sure, because there's other things they could have said, too.
Also, 'cause when you crush, let's face it, no other comic is going to tell you that you crushed. It's only when you
Yeah.
do poorly when they're like, hey, good set.
Hey, you did all right.
Go kill yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So I came off that one feeling pretty rough. And then I don't know, I was like backstage trying to figure it out, and I had an epiphany, and I was like, why did that first joke that I do and it usually goes really well, why did that one land flat right at the beginning? And then I realized the audience wasn't expecting me. It doesn't say Nick Hoff anywhere on the ticket.
Sure.
You know, I'm just this kid coming out before their 2 idols, and all of a sudden I'm firing like I just brought a gun, and everybody's like, wait,
Right.
we're just playing poker. I'm like,
What are you talking about?
pow, 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 pow. This always works. So then after that, so show 2, I went out and the first thing I said into the microphone was, "Who the hell am I?" Right?
There
Right.
you go.
Immediately, everybody laughed because that's exactly what they were thinking. Who the
Right.
hell is this? And now I'm self-deprecating, and then that like disarmed the whole thing, and I got to tell them who I was, and then the next 3 shows went off really well. And so I think it was just that simple. The jokes were the same. I'm the same
Yeah.
guy,
Right.
but it was just that simple. Like, here we're gonna put you in the frame of mind to accept me being here and
You're
delay.
in there
Right.
with them
And
instead
here's
of
that
just
little
like,
bit of buy-in.
Yeah, and I'm sure that that's cool for them to see you do that, like Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy, to watch you kind of make that switch and be like, oh, he figured it out. Where it's
Yeah,
like,
he
it's
knows what the
just-
hell he's doing.
He's going to make that one switch second show, and then that makes sense why they kind of pick you up, because it's like, oh, he adjusted after one.
Yeah.
Instead
Well,
of, like,
I would
panic.
love if that were the case. If they're back there going, "Oh, nicely
Oh.
done."
I think it had to have been.
They could have.
Yeah, I mean, because honestly, a lot of comics would have doubled down. They would have been like, I know this material is good. I'm just going to
Sure.
force it. You know,
It
and
was
it's
the
like,
room, and you're
Yeah.
like, it was an arena.
My jokes are too
Not me.
smart.
That was a dumb crap.
Yeah, they don't get it. I'm an educated man. It's that blue
I'm
collar
worldly.
story. I'm a white collar man. They don't get it.
I also think it's kind of funny that you mentioned Kansas City, because I've been reading some reviews of Matt Rife's tour, and apparently he just did a show, and apparently it went off the rails in Kansas City.
K-Town going
and
up.
it kind of tanked, and like a lot of his fans are blaming themselves.
As
like-
you do.
I know. I'm like,
How sweet.
how do I get these fans? How do I
Yeah.
get these people that are like, you know what, that show kind of sucked, but it was my fault,
Yeah.
and I am so sorry.
Like an apologetic heckler, like, hey, I'm sorry for doing this.
Yeah.
You know, this is my fault.
It was probably the Westboro Baptist Church.
Abs-
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
they
That's a
kind of
tough
put a
gig,
stain on
you know?
everything.
You know
That's a
what?
tough
We've been
gig.
wrong this whole time. I'm sorry, Matt.
Hey, we forgive you for everything you're doing. It's fine. All that premarital nonsense.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
Shout out Westboro. Do they have comedy shows?
Yeah, they have an open mic in their church basement.
Yeah, it's in between karaoke nights.
Lisa Lampanelli wrote about Westboro Baptist Church in her book, how they were like picketing outside of her show, and it was like this whole thing because they were mad that she was making fun of deaf people, and it's actually
What a
very
weird battle
hilarious.
to,
Yeah,
like,
but she was
fight.
like, also they're deaf. I'm a comic. Like, what's going on? Like, who
Yeah.
cares? And this is before we have ASL interpreters at every show, so she was like, who cares?
This is all
What
anybody
about,
does.
Feeling my vibrations.
It feels off, dude. There's crystals in the air. It feels weird.
Right.
That gotta, I guess, leads us to this. Have you had any like road gigs that have really just gone off the rails, that are just like shit shows, or shows that are just in a wild spot where you're like, oh, this is
I could get
happening
killed
to me?
tonight.
Yeah, you're like, I've been driving for 4 hours in this direction and I haven't seen a taillight.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of that. You do comedy long
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
You go to every cool place and every armpit.
The
in
nooks
the
and the
world.
crannies.
It's just like
I
the
mean-
bus system, man. You're stopping in every town.
And from night to night, it varies. Like this year, I'm doing all 50 states. In 2023, I'm hitting all 50 states. So I've gone from like one night to the next doing like just a dive bar gig where it's like, what is happening here? I did one where they turned off, they didn't have a stage light. So instead they just turned off the lights in the room. They didn't, there was no spotlight in this bar. And so they just thought it best to just make everything black.
Yeah, they're
Like-
like it's either on or off.
The comic on stage before me, you couldn't see his face. Like there's stuff. I was like, what is happening right now? So I went on
that's
stage like,
good.
just turn on the lights. Like I'd rather do this in the daylight than
Yeah,
Right,
I want
right.
to see if there's anyone even in here. That's good.
A little like, are you afraid of the dark moment with the flashlight?
You just shine your own flash screen on your phone.
I'm surprised that wasn't the case. I'm surprised there wasn't a guy with like an iPhone, like just. kinda,
I
like,
got
having
it, dude.
feet from me.
I got the spotlight, bro. I'll do it.
I'll stay
Shake
out of
him
your
all the
way.
time. Yeah, that's fun.
We always ask that question. We had a gig that we did together, and basically there was a heckler, and he got into it with the bouncer, and when the bouncer...
We didn't even know about it.
We didn't know about it because the
Show's
show
just
was going
great.
great.
Yeah.
And he got thrown out, and he shit his pants as he was getting thrown out
Like
of this bar.
DJ Jazzy Jeff, but mid-throw he pooped.
Yeah.
It was very cool.
Have you ever had one of those like weird gigs where you're like, someone just shit themselves, or or something equivalent?
Like a messy heckler instead of
messy
like
heckler.
a violent heckler.
I had one in Milwaukee years ago,
Frickin'
and
Milwaukee.
Shout out.
the club was rumored to be owned by like kind of some mobsters, and they looked like it. I don't know if it was true, but they looked like it. Like
Right.
go get paid in this. You walk through an office, and then there was an office within an office, so you'd have to go through two doors to get paid. And I was like, they're gonna kill me for $500, aren't they?
Yeah, I've seen The Sopranos.
Yeah.
And there was a heckler who was just yelling, and I don't often get hecklers because I don't have that kind of show really. But there was
Right.
a heckler who was yelling, and I was responding, and I was doing everything like the first couple times, just kind of play with them, just and maybe put them in their place just a little bit, but gently, just time to shush. But it wasn't working, and they kept going, and I was like, dude, are you trying to fight me right now? And the person stood up, and that's when I noticed it was a girl. And I was like, oh, and I still feel bad about this. I said from stage, oh, wait, are you a woman? Like I could see, and the audience thought that was very funny, which I felt worse about.
Sure.
Oh, no. Like, I thought this was a dude the whole time. It's like,
Like, I'm winning and losing right now.
I was fully expecting when you said, I'm so sorry for you to be like, and then I beat her ass.
I was like, I said from stage, I'm 100% not fighting you now. Like,
Yeah.
like best case scenario, I win and I beat up a woman. Worst case
Right.
scenario, you beat my ass and I got my ass kicked by a Milwaukee bitch. Like, this
Yeah.
is
Right.
terrible. Either way,
It's a lose-lose.
but she got booted by one of the like mobsters, and he came up, and I remember he had an abscess on his in his mouth, so he had like this inflamed cheek. So one of his cheeks was like 4 times the size it should have been, but he's like yelling at this person like, "You got to get the hell out of here, or we can remove you by force." And I mean, the show's paused at that
Right.
moment. Like
Yeah,
sometimes
everyone's just
they fight
watching.
through it. They're like, "So who's from out of town? He'll shut your mouth."
Anybody here on a
Must be
date?
awkward.
Yeah, you two fucking.
We had my first time ever hosting here. A fight broke out in the showroom. There was like a cop up on the riser, and there was a guy on the floor, and like the guy on the floor was heckling. It was Spencer James.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I know.
So there was a guy on the floor, and he's heckling Spencer, and Spencer's like telling him to shut the fuck up or whatever, and he's moving on. He's just keeping the show moving.
Yeah.
And finally, the cop is like, he's yelling at this guy. So the guy just stands up and he just decks the cop. So now the cop jumps over the railing, and now they're brawling in the
that's
showroom.
sick.
So
I mean, that's terrible.
I come running out of the showroom screaming, fight! Because that's also exciting. And then I just run in the other side to watch.
Yeah, because you're a house comic, you're wrangling the rest.
Yeah, and then Spencer just sat on the stool on stage and sang all of Sitting on the Dock of the Bay.
That's
Really?
incredible. What a cool thing to do as a fight's just happening in the crowd.
And then it cleared out, and he was like, so adoption's weird.
Yeah.
Dude.
It was perfect.
I just had a guy fight me like pre-Will Smith days at an open mic. He like got from me to you, and he was like, "You need to get off stage." And I was like, "There's no stage. I'm on the ground."
I
was
am
like, "We are here
for
together."
this internet cafe.
I was like, "We're on top. We're smoking
I'm
in a
drinking
lounge.
boba tea.
Somehow cigarettes are allowed in this place. It was so weird. I should have bopped him with the microphone just on top of his head.
That's a weird thing when you go to a place where they still smoke in there.
Yeah, it was an awesome.
Yes.
It felt like a trip back in time because
Yeah,
this was
it's now
2020,
1987,
and I'm
yeah.
like smoking cigarettes in between, like as I'm on stage. I'm like, who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
It was cool.
You're
They
Dave
should bring.
Chappelle.
I think. Yeah, it should be the only place that smoking's allowed: bowling alleys, Waffle House, and comedy clubs.
Waffle.
I agree with that. 1,000%.
Yeah, because there's nothing like hash browns with a little cigarette ash in them.
Right. Well, that's where you put out the
the love.
cigarette when you're done.
Yeah, you got a nice cup of
potatoes.
coffee that you're not gonna finish. Oh, let's play Smash or
Oh,
Grass.
real
shall
quick,
we?
I want to ask about the astronaut real quick.
Oh yeah, sure. That's much cooler than Smash or Grass.
So you interview a bunch of people on the Hoffcast, your podcast.
Yeah, that's cool.
How did, well, I guess I should ask who your favorite person to interview was, but also how was that astronaut interview? Because I think that's amazing.
Okay, so my favorite person to interview is also my least favorite person to interview, which is my
Awesome.
wife, because those episodes are so into it, and we have to start like 3 different times because
Sure.
immediately will start, and she'll start complaining about some like real thing that I'm
Yeah,
like,
and you're like, hey, this is for
Hey.
the masses.
knock it off. Like, we can't have this fight right here. Okay.
Yeah.
So we always
like,
have to start
so
it
long.
like several times. But the astronaut was cool. I met him during one of the cable guy shows, and he's from Nebraska, which is where I'm from, and so we had that connection. But he saw my set, and then we were talking afterward, and we kind of hit it off. And then I was like, "Hey, I have a podcast. Love to have you on it." And it was right when COVID was like we had just been locked down, so I thought.
Sure.
Right.
I thought this guy would have an interesting perspective because he spent 6 months on the International Space Station
Gosh, that's
So, like,
incredible.
in seclusion. I think there was like one other person up there. And so I thought, well, this guy has been through this. Like,
Yeah.
right choice. And so I thought he'd be a really cool person to interview. And he was, and he had a lot of insight. The only bummer was I was kind of trying to have some fun with like talking about aliens, talking about the fake moon landing and stuff like that, and he just wasn't having any of that. He's like, well, everyone that thinks that is a moron.
Have you seen that video? I think it's Buzz Aldrin like punching a dude.
Yeah.
He's
He's like
which is
86,
so
and he
cool.
decked some dude on the steps.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
But now we know there are non-humans, and we have their
Well, sure.
biological
But
material.
I wouldn't mess with an astronaut or a dude who specifically stepped on. I wouldn't mess with them. I'd
No.
be like, I'd talk shit online, sure, but like,
Yeah,
to
on
go up and
Reddit.
heckle, that's great. To heckle him to his face,
And for an
That's
86-year-old dude to punch you in the what does that
Yeah.
feel like? Just bran flakes coming at you.
or that's all he has left
Yes,
is that punch.
literally.
That last bit of effort, like
His last huzzah.
That's old Buzz. He's done.
All right, you could take away Smash or
All right,
Grass.
let's
Sorry,
play
I was so
Smash or
excited to
Grass.
talk about the
It's
astronaut.
okay. It's time, everybody, to play Smash or Grass. Let's do. Fuck it. Let's do the other half of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. Let's do Ron White and Bill Engvall.
those are the two people I have to choose one to smoke with and one to
Yep.
bang.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough game, bud.
All right, let me think about this. I mean, your instinct says you smoke with Ron,
Right.
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
But Bill, I wonder if he smokes, so he might freak out, and that could be kind of fun.
Right.
Yeah. Sure to get too high with Bill Engvall. It's like, here's your sign, Bill. Well, too high.
Okay, I'm
I
going
bet he
to.
smokes.
He seems like an edible guy.
Oh, that's
I-
true.
Wait, am I the one doing the plowing, or am I getting plowed?
Oh,
You
it's
get to
either way.
choose.
It's-
This
it's-
is your world. We're just
However,
living in
it's
it.
the best night of making love with this person.
You
that
get to
can
custom
imagine.
tailor this sexual encounter
All right,
to your
I'm
liking.
smoking with Bill. I'm smoking with Bill.
He's got a good
and
laugh. I feel
I
like
just
he's
want to
funny.
hear what Ron's bedside manner. I want
It's
to hear.
just the same on
the
stage. He is no different, I'm sure. Yo, that's funny.
At least I know there'll be scotch around.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. And a
ton of
nice
scotch.
cigar afterwards.
Amazing
Like that's
cigar.
I don't think a cigarette or a
Little
cigar would ever
humidor.
hit different. He's a humidor. That's wild.
Okay, well
Do you
then we
have
have to ask. We have to ask Larry the
I
Cable
guess we
Guy
could do Larry and
as Larry the Cable Guy.
yeah, not
Yeah,
like
his
in
actual
persona
stage persona,
with the cutoff sleeves.
or Jeff Foxworthy.
I'm not talking about the guy.
Wait,
with
what's the
feet
question
over.
now?
It's
Smash
Smash,
or
or
Grass.
Grass.
Yeah.
You
do it
guys
again.
trying to get me fired from every job I've ever had. Knock it off.
Okay, we can
We could do
switch.
it.
We can
Let's see.
switch fire.
I don't know why my brain went to Muppets just now.
Just do Muppets.
Why? That's weird.
Because he doesn't work with the Muppets on MTV.
Are they ageless?
He's like, I've absolutely worked with Muppets on MTV.
Fuck it. Let's do.
I mean, if you're talking about a hand sock, then hasn't it already happened?
Right. And I feel like every Muppet is just kind of, it's already happening as it's happening.
Absolutely.
Okay, fine. Let's do Oscar the Grouch and Big Bird.
Ooh,
Because I look like both of them.
you sound like both of them.
Shut up.
Yeah, you smoke with the grouch.
Yep. Because he's just a
He's
human,
got the good shit.
human nug of marijuana.
And I've got a little bit of anger to take out on Big Bird because one of my first jobs was at Kmart, and they had a fake Big Bird there that was in the kids department. I had to go and clean that thing, and every time you walked in front of it, it would say, "Let's see how tall you are." So you'd hear that for like 10 straight minutes as you're
Yeah.
Big Bird.
You
So
want
I
to switch
got some
roles.
We got some
animosity.
hate fucking to do.
That is wild. Yeah, that's a hilariously personal reason to want to sleep with Big Bird.
I have to say that's probably my best, like the best rationale I've ever heard on Smash or Grass.
I have one that is not related to comedy whatsoever, but I don't know why she's in my head. But let's go Sally Fields and Mrs. Doubtfire, and then Sally Fields as Abraham Lincoln's wife in that one. What is that called?
Lincoln?
Yeah. I'm not
Boy,
American.
you
I'm
guys
so
did
sorry.
smoke before this, didn't you? Holy crap!
I'm just constantly here.
I don't even smoke weed, so this is just me being an asshole.
I don't either. Lincoln's wife in that movie.
The one about the president that gets shot.
I forgot what it was called. My brain was just going Lincoln Lawyer, and I was like, it's not Matthew McConaughey.
Was it JFK? Was that the name? Oh my goodness!
I'm an idiot.
You know what? That Sally. I didn't see Lincoln, so I couldn't tell you. But she was a lot older in that one.
Yes.
So I'm gonna smoke with her because I gotta imagine if she's alive during Lincoln's presidency, she probably stinks.
Right.
Yeah,
She probably has some ailments, and the weed might help her with that.
Can I wear the Mrs. Doubtfire costume?
Yes.
100%, dude. Whipped cream is included.
Oh, there's whipped cream included in the set? That's a no-brainer, my friend.
Yeah, she brings it. And it's in Robin Williams' sad apartment while he's divorced.
Not in the mansion.
No,
Like the
you're
sad dad apartment with the boxes in the hallway.
And she comes to pick up the kids.
Or whatever, like, oh, sweetheart.
Yeah. Matchmaker, make me a match. We go off those vibes.
My wife is maybe the only person in the world that thinks that Sally Field is the protagonist of that movie.
She's not wrong.
Uh-oh, hold on. The man in black
What?
is saying...
I think I'm with her.
I think you're just doing this just
No,
to be
I watched it
argumentative.
recently with her in mind. I've started doing that. I've kind of like started watching movies where it's like, who should I pay attention to? And like, she goes through it. She has the baseline for everything.
Wait
It's
a
her
second.
choices.
Wait, isn't it like the first scene when she shows up and he's thrown a killer party for his kid and brought a petting zoo along? He's connecting with his children, and she walks
like,
in
"This
and
is
puts the kibosh
exhausting."
on it.
Yeah.
No, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. That is a devil witch.
Dude, you're a bad mom, Cam.
I am. Yeah. Or I'm just really attracted to Sally Fields. I don't know which one it is.
Or you're really attracted to James Bond.
Right?
Well,
Pierce Brosnan's over there,
Come on
like
now.
getting hit with fruit.
Run by
him
fruiting.
and Mamma Mia, are you kidding me? With
Not
his
his
terrible
fault.
ass
He was struck with an orange.
All right, well, that's been Smash or Grass. That was the best version I think I've ever played.
Thank
it
you
caused
so
like
much.
internal battles that we're going to have to finish this.
We're going
argument
outside and we're
later.
going to fight about this. Thank you so much for
Get it
taking the time
down.
to talk with us today. You're going to be at the Comedy Fort this Thursday in Fort Collins. Amazing
Nice.
club. Can't wait to hear how that goes. And this weekend, Friday, Saturday, 2 shows a night, 7:30, 9:45. They are going to sell out. So, guys, get your tickets, looneescc.com. I'm so
Yeah.
excited to see you this weekend.
Yeah, excited to hang out.
Yeah.
Thanks. You guys will be there?
We'll unpack this Mrs. Doubtfire bullshit.
Yeah.
in
I'm
person.
going to watch it like 6 times before then.
I'm going to bring you each a copy, and we'll watch it and figure this out together.
Awesome.
Perfect. Sounds like a lovely weekend.
Thank you again. We'll see you this weekend. Thanks for checking
Thanks,
out now appearing at Loonees.
Bye.
Forward to it. Thanks, guys.